evening to everybody. TEDxMerdeka. Oh my god, I'm super nervous actually, and to be honest with you, I've actually been changing what I wanted to say from last week up till about 3 minutes ago. So yes, the topic which I was invited to talk about this evening was how to change opportunities into, how to change limitations into opportunities. In my line of work, I basically do public talks and I do research about limitations, and I also basically share with people on how I cope with these limitations and break past these limitations. Before I kind of want to begin, I thought I'd kind of look into the two keywords of the topic, one being limitation and the next being opportunity. It's funny because I've modeled my whole business around this in some degree. In fact, my whole life has been really about this. Alright, thank you. I think for 29 years of my life, I've had to cope with the fact that I think the first thing that people realize about me is that I don't have hands. And for me, the thing is, it's not something that I really see as a limitation per se, but it's something that other people has had to kind of like think, you know, I mean, when people look at me, they'll probably, the first thing that pops into their mind would be like, how does this dude like eat? Or like, how does this dude like write? Or how does he use his cell phone and yada 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 yada. But on my part though, I've never really seen it as a limitation. Let me show you a story actually of when I was very young. This was a story my mom told me quite a while back, and it began. Oh, my mom's right in front here, in fact. It began in school, actually, primary school. Just about after kindergarten, and I was going to go into primary school. Yeah, you know, my mom never thought about putting me in some sort of special school or anything like that, so she just put me in normal school. So she registered me in the school, met up with the headmaster or the principal, and I think as the principal then told my mom, I don't think that we can cater for your child because I don't think that we have the necessary facilities to cater to his needs. So my mom went to me and she told me about this, and I was quite upset. And I told her, well, let me sort it out. I'll talk to him. So here's this 6-year-old boy walking into the principal's office, and I was like, dude, seriously, I remember, I think this is what my mom said. I sat down in front of him, and I opened up my shoes, and I was like, check this out. And I started writing. You know, you're like, give me a book, give me a pen, you know, and I started writing, right? And I told him, seriously, I don't see myself really needing anything because I'm not sure what you think is my limitations, but to me, all I need are my books, or all I need is a desk. Which, you know, awesome enough, my father, who is an architect and understands about ergonomics, designed me a special table, so it was not a big deal at all. 29 years down the line, well, 30 odd years down the line, I graduated from university, finished my psychology degree, and now am running my own company and standing right in front of you on TED Talk. So let me just share with you a bit about how I think I may have changed my limitations into opportunities. As I said, I run a company called TZI, or the Zhariff Initiatives in Berhad, and I know a lot of people may want to hide things that they feel is limiting to them. They might want to hide things that they feel is, I don't know, maybe they have disability, or you know, they might look weird. You know, some people have big ears or big nose, or you know, look funny. But what I've made a decision is to actually brand what makes me unique. This realization actually came to me not so long ago, actually, just a couple of years back. I basically figured that it's funny because as I was growing up, I seemed to get a bit of media attention whenever I did stuff. Be it, you know, entering a drawing competition, be it leading a marching band, be it going to Indonesia and helping out the tsunami survivors there for a year. So it was, you know, whatever I did seemed to get a lot of media attention. And I figured, hey, since it gets a lot of attention and what I do is just what I do, but when people see it as quite amazing, I thought, hey, let's leverage off that and turn what people perceive as my own limitations to become my strength. And thus I branded the Zhariff Initiative. So without any hesitation, without any, well, we say rasa malu-malu in Malay, or without feeling embarrassed, right? I said, fine, I'll use my feet, and I use my feet for everything, and I shall brand that as to who I am. Yeah, and because the way I see it as well is that people perceive limitations as in I don't have hands and whether or not I can do things, but it's really something that makes me stand out. Yeah, and because it makes me stand out, it makes it easier in many ways, yeah, for me to go and meet people, for me to go engage people, and it helps that I can blab a lot. So, yeah. So yeah, in fact, everything that I do involves branding around, that limiting belief and turning it into opportunities. All my taglines, yeah, my tagline is giving a hand with a foot. Yeah, sometimes my slap is a flying kick. Yeah. So either way, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? So I've managed to turn that whole what people think about limiting beliefs to something of an opportunity for myself. The second thing I wanted to share with you actually is that I'm actually very passionate about community development and very passionate about volunteering. And one of the limiting beliefs, or one of the limiting things about volunteering that we found here in Malaysia is that despite there being a very high interest in volunteering, the stats say that 85% of young people are very much interested in volunteering and doing community work. But shockingly enough, and paradoxically on that part, only 15% of young people actually engage in some form of community work or volunteer work. So why is there such a discrepancy between the interest and the participation? So in my research of this, I did research in terms of like trying to find out how do we solve this, yeah. And I do a lot of work for the Ministry of Youth and Sports as well as the National Youth Development Council. And upon my research, I found this amazing project that was actually started in the States called RockCo. So what RockCo does basically is that, okay, one of the reasons why they say that young people are not too participating in community work or volunteer work is because they're much more into things like music, which is awesome. They're much more into things like party, pop culture, fashion, yeah, things like that, right? And that's the reason why young people don't really engage in doing community work. However, what these guys have done is something absolutely amazing. They've basically redefined the concept of volunteering to make it relevant to young people by integrating the things that I've said before, music, art, fashion, pop culture, into each element of the projects, into each element of the branding, and into the approach of what they do. So by this, what they've done is they've turned around what people thought was limiting or why young people are not participating in volunteer work into an amazing project. And within 4 years, we started off with 5,000 volunteers, and in 4 years, it's pretty much got 8 times more. No, not 8 times more. There's 320,000 volunteers now, with over 500,000 hours of volunteer work. So it's quite amazing what they've done within 4 years, and I'm quite happy to say that we are bringing down the project here in Malaysia, and hopefully this will change young people's perspective of volunteering work. So. That would be the second story that I wanted to tell you about. The third story that I wanted to share with all of you is something that also I'm very passionate about, which is music. Yeah, music and social media is something I'm very passionate about. Our business involves a lot of that. So of course, we've got a lot of things that, internet now has revolutionized music. In fact, it's revolutionized our life, right? I mean, I don't need to tell you about YouTube, MySpace, Facebook, SoundCloud, yada yada yada, right? And that's not what I'm here to tell you about as well. What I wanted to share with you are the people that utilize this and the people behind this who's made it meaningful. So these are people who are singers, artists who had limitations before them. And like for instance, you have this guy up there, which is a Currency. You've got the Beaver Fever. And we've got 3 very amazing local artists as well. You've got Ziavi, you've got Natira, and you've got Yuna. Each one of these people pretty much started off by not really just going, hey, traditionally, you know how music is done, or traditionally music is produced. I think people used to think that in order for you to make it in music, you need to be signed by a record label. And when you say it's signed by a record label, only will you have the opportunity and access to things like studios, access to things like distribution of music, right? But amazingly enough, a lot of these people, they have decided, hey, we don't need that anymore. Yeah, we can use our limiting. It's limiting, but in fact, it's connected more. People can actually feel for them more. People can feel, and that's why the response, I think, it's more humanizing in that way. And as I was like looking into all this, looking into all these artists and what they're doing, looking into rockcore, assessing what I'm doing, I realized that there are three commonalities that we all share. And in fact, this is the commonality that we all share in this room, that what I've heard so far, including with Professor Afandi, with Shira, and everybody that's been talking here, is that we always start things by a meaning. Yeah, there always needs to be a meaning, a purpose in what we do. So that would be the first thing. Secondly, would be everybody here is ridiculously passionate and seems to really love what they're doing, right? So I don't think that you can actually achieve what you have achieved today, or I don't think I could achieve what I've achieved today if I did not love what I did and if you did not love what you did, right? And the third one would be, I don't think any one of us is afraid to fail. I think everybody has experienced their own failure, right? But hey, if you don't try it out, right, and if you don't do it, right, and if you're afraid to move forward, then might as well you just stay home, right, and not do anything at all, and not move forward. So I think that's an amazing thing. And I know Steve just now was telling about how he's got this rhymanitis. Yeah, rhymanitis. I know this is a bit fatal, but I thought I'd end this. By a bit of a rhyme. I hope by now you understand the gist of what I'm saying. You know that I am serious, no way that I am playing. No way I'm going to end up being a one-hit wonder, because we hit you so hard like lightning and thunder. We'll open up your mind and we'll open up your soul. Who said you can't teach a dog even though it's soul? We've all got a billion things going through our mind, and if you don't understand me, then you're wasting our time. Thank you. Peace.
Thank you very much, Zhariff. I'm sure we're all very